was just very interesting was Mother's Day. You know, it's you guys know it's a fucking holiday, fucking a Christmas card type holiday. Like the card companies made up Mother's Day and Father's Day. It's not that somebody celebrated. I mean, if you're a decent fucking person, you know that Mother's Day is every fucking day. But for some reason, this Mother's Day, I went on the computer Sunday morning just to see what was going on. And I saw how many fucking people were dealing like with a mom's death. Like my mom's been gone for 3 years in heaven or 5 years in heaven. And today the first thing I did this morning was call Jerry Rocha. His mother died. So I called him. The first thing I did Mother's Day was give him a call. And I could hear it in his voice. It was fucking traumatizing. And all I could think about was my first Mother's Day without my mother. And to boot, it's my mother's birthday, Mother's Day weekend. So it's just eye-opening. And the first 2 or 3 of them, you don't even know how you're going to make it through. And this goes for your father, too. You don't even know how you're going to make it through. You really want to just sleep the day away. Like you want to go to bed Saturday night and wake up Monday morning and not even process it, whether it's Mother's Day or Father's Day. It's such a painful thing. And I was thinking about, like, you know, my mother didn't die in a hospital. My mother didn't die in a fucking car accident. My mother didn't die in none of that shit. I found her, plain and simple. When I was 16 years old, you know, I went downstairs and there she was on the fucking floor. You know, at that age, my world collapsed. I mean, I didn't even know what I was going through till now. And I don't have a lot of things going for me, but I do have one thing over you guys, and that's years. I'm a lot older than you guys, and life experiences. I mean, look at my fucking face. You could see the fucking map to death on my face. And it was because of those years of me trying to, you know, at 16, you're trying to wrap your little fucking undeveloped mind around the death of the most important person in your life, who's supposed to be the most important people in your life, your mom and your fucking dad. They're number one unless you were raised by a grandma or whatever. But, you know, for most people, it's your mom and dad. To wrap your head around that at that age, it was tough. And I'm not feeling bad for myself. I overcame it. I thought about it. I mean, listen, for me, it's Mother's Day every day. Because every day I draw from the pain. Every day I think about it. Every day I think about what would my life be if she was still around. Every day I think about if she could take a good look at Mercy. You know, your mother's always with you. I mean, it took me 5 years to accept that she was even fucking dead. For 5 years, your mind has no fucking closure. Like, listen, I look on my phone now, like sometimes I got to call somebody and I open up my phone and I see Brody's phone number. I've never erased him. Or I see my man Burkle's phone number. Or I see my man fucking Ralphie's number. I've never erased him. And yeah, it hurts a little bit when you open it up. You're like, Jesus fucking Christ, you know, you go through sadness and then you think of a joke they said or something they said and you smile, you know. Somebody put up a video of Ralphie the other day and I went on the computer and just nearly had a nervous breakdown. It was him doing comedy and Snoop Dogg sitting in the back. I mean, I still can't wrap my head that he's dead. To me, he's just on a long tour. For me right now at this point, he's on a long tour. I just haven't seen him. My head, with any death, your head never, it takes years for you to wrap your head around his death. So it took me 5 years just to come to the realization that she was dead, and I went off the fucking rails. I went off the fucking handles, and I couldn't handle it. Yeah, now the pain doesn't sting me as much. Unless if I really, really, really get involved my mind into it. Like last on the way up Laurel Canyon, Saturday night from the Comedy Store, I thought about it because I saw something that said Mother's Day. And for some reason, it dawned on me that this is going to be the 40th Mother's Day without my mother.
Fuck.
40 fucking years. And guys, it still hurts. 40 years. And it still hurts. It hurts because of how it happened. Like, you never expect to wake up and see anybody on the fucking floor. You never really do. I knew my mother had her problems and her issues, but I didn't think she was going to die. I mean, you never think. You don't even go there with your mind when you look at your parents. You just avoid it. When it does come up, when you see your mom and they're getting old, you're like, oh, she's going to die. And then you say to yourself, no, she's not going to die. I'm not even going there. You don't even let your mind go there sometimes. So when I see you guys posting on Mother's Day that you're having a hard time, my heart goes out to you guys. I mean, I saw 10 people post that their mothers were gone 3 years, from John Bender to, R.I.P. Mom. And yeah, it's a funky place to put it up. Whatever works for you. I'm not here to criticize nobody because they put a post up. Whatever works for you to make you feel better, For me, it took years. It took years to understand what had happened, for years to understand what I was going to do with my life. I mean, 40 fucking years. I'm driving up Laurel Canyon. I'm like, okay, I made it 40 years. I did this with my life. I did that with my life. I cleaned up a little bit. I'm not a fucking common thug anymore, but I still miss my fucking mother. How did I survive without her for 40 fucking years? When she first died, listen, guys, and I've said this to you guys from the heart before, I wanted to die. I just didn't have the balls to pull the trigger. I did everything I could to fucking die. I didn't take care of myself. I did drugs. I did everything I could till I felt that I was somebody. Till, from 1979 to 1991 in my mind, I had no fucking value. I mean, none at all. And I know a lot of you guys are going through that at a young age. From the age of 16 to the age of 30-something, my life had no value in my mind. If it was money-wise, my life was worth a nickel. I'm telling you this right now. Now it's not worth any more, but I have more value on myself than I had between the ages of 19 and 31. At the age of 31, yeah, I found comedy. Thank fucking God I found comedy. That was my fucking religion. But for a long time, I walked around wounded. And in other words, I was just spinning my fucking wheels till I started doing comedy and I started writing, and I figured out a wise man named Doug Stanhope told me to write out my life. And while I was on the road, on buses, I would just take a notebook and write out my life. And then I came to the conclusion of why she died. You have to break this down in your mind, as hard as it is, as painful as it is. Yeah, a tear is going to fall from your eye, but you're all fucking big boys now. And, when you look at me, our ultimate end is that we're all going to fucking die. We're all going to die. That's it. We don't know when. We don't know when the expiration date is. We're all going to die. But when you think about your parents, it's like fucking, I cannot believe she's been gone for 40 years and I've made it without her. 40 fucking years and I've made it without her. I didn't know. I had no fucking idea till Saturday night when I was driving that this had even happened,
How old were you when you were able to start dealing with it? Like, how many years ago?
I started dealing with it when I was 24 years old, maybe. No, I started dealing with it the first time that it came to my mind that she wasn't coming back. I was 22 years old. So it took me from the age of 16 to 22. I thought she was like Ralphie. She was just on tour somewhere or something like that.
It's just so weird. Like, knock on wood, I haven't had, like, my parents are still with us, but over the last couple of years, I had some people that when I moved out here to LA, I worked with them and they died suddenly. And it's so final and it's so quick that it's hard to even know, what do you mean they're gone?
Look at the Brody situation. 1 minute he was at the store, and the next minute he's gone. Look at the Ralphie situation. 1 minute he's in Las Vegas doing a show. The next minute he goes home. We don't know. We don't have the fucking answers. I'm just here to help you cope with it a little bit because I'm coming from that experience. As a young man, I had to learn. And don't get me wrong, there was tons of drugs and alcohol involved and insecurities and fucking confusion because the pain comes on and you don't even know what it comes. The pain is disguised. The pain is disguised as something fucking else. Anxiety, it's always disguised until you manifest it and you realize this is fucking pain that's eating me alive. A couple weeks ago, like I told you guys in the podcast, New York was very eye-opening for me because I realized that I really wasn't doing what I really, really wanted anymore. I was doing all this stuff. Like I said, I love doing stand-up, but I also like doing movies, guys. I like doing a podcast. I like spending time with my family. I like spending time with my daughter. I like spending time at the comedy store. I like so many fucking things that I don't have that much time to focus on just one. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about dealing with fucking pain and how it creeps up on you every day. For me, I inherited pain from my mother in the sense that I saw her deal with it at the end of a day. That was when the pain of losing somebody, when there's no friends around, when the bars are closed, when you're home taking off your shoes at the end of the night. That's when the pain would hit me the most. That's why I think people ice themselves when they go home at night, because that's when the pain manifests. And that's when you start hearing voices, and that's when you start getting doubts. I don't know, because it used to happen to me the first 3 or 4 years after my mother died, guys. 3 o'clock in the morning was always a tough fucking time for me. Once I'd be home and the coke would wear off and the alcohol would start to diminish, and no matter how fucking drunk you got, I don't care if you were fucking pass out drunk, you'd wake up to pee and you'd feel the pain coming in on you. And then you wake up the next morning, you fucking take a shower, you start thinking about your day and the pain disappears. But once you get home at night, I think that's why a lot of us eat late at night. A lot of us, like with me, I gained all that weight over the years. It was my late night eating habits. And I can't blame it on that. I'm not going to tell you that it was that. But I'll tell you, dealing with nighttime for me are fucking rough. Not anymore. I'm pretty solid now the last 12 years. I think the last 14 years. I think even the last 2 years of doing the drugs, that's when I caught on. That's why I had to get high at night. I wasn't an all high. Think about that. That's very interesting that I never got high in the daytime. I've been telling this podcast for 7 years, and I've told endless stories about getting fucking high. The only time I would be high when there was sunlight is if I stayed up all night to it. I was never the type of person to just take out a bump of coke and do it at 3 in the afternoon, because I knew it would ruin my fucking day, and I didn't have time for it. I still wanted to do comedy. That's why I say to you guys that the comedy was my fucking religion. It saved me, because I would not fucking do a bump in the daytime. Nor, between you and I, did I need one, or was I interested in one? Did I go get coke in the daytime for that night? 1,000,000 times. I can't tell you how many times I would go, you know what? I'm not doing anything right now, and it's better than going over there tonight with cops all around, and when it's dark and you get pulled over. I would shoot to his house in the daytime. He'd give me a package. I'd go home. I'd put it in my fucking closet, in the fucking pocket, and it would stay there till I got back. Sometimes I'd take it with me to the comedy store, but I didn't need it at the comedy store. I would do it at the comedy store as a means of entertainment or whatever. I needed it when it was just me alone with myself. If it's 2 in the afternoon and you ain't high, go fuck yourself. Get out of my face. I want you around me like I want cancer in my ball sack. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna come around here looking at me with your fucking wide eyes, thinking that I'm gonna reform. Go fuck yourself. My morning starts at 5:30 a.m. Either you're there or you're square. You know what I'm saying?